Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into South Africa's most pressing stories, uncover hidden truths, and hold power to account. If you're passionate about justice, transparency, and exposing those who abuse positions of trust, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Today's story is a shocking tale of betrayal, greed, and the exploitation of faith, a story that has rocked Cape Town and beyond. We're talking about the dramatic downfall of Colin Davids, a once respected Cape Town pastor, and his business associate Derek Bredekamp, who have both been found guilty of orchestrating one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in recent South African history. On the 10th of June 2025, the Bellville Specialized Commercial Crimes Court handed down a guilty verdict that could bring some measure of closure to thousands of victims. The amount defrauded: a staggering R329 million. The victims: over 2,000 ordinary South Africans, many of them pensioners, churchgoers, and working-class citizens, whose lives were devastated by a promise that was never real. Let's break this down. Colin Davids, aged 56, wasn't just any businessman. He was a prominent pastor, well known within Christian circles in the Western Cape. He was also the sole director of Platinum Forex Group, Proprietary, Ltd., the vehicle he used to lure in victims under the guise of legitimate, low-risk investing. His partner in crime, Derek Bredekamp, now 58, played a key role in helping run this elaborate con. From as early as 2009 until 2015, they peddled a so-called investment scheme that promised monthly returns of between 2% and 8%, with the full return of capital after a specific period. To the untrained eye, and especially for those who place trust in Davids as a man of God, it all sounded like a safe, divine opportunity to achieve financial freedom. But prosecutors, led by the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, pulled back the curtain in court to reveal a dark truth: no money was ever invested in foreign exchange markets, property portfolios, or any other genuine enterprise. Instead, this was a classic Ponzi scheme, the kind that relies on a steady stream of new investors to pay off earlier ones. In short, the system was always destined to collapse. This wasn't just a financial crime. It was a betrayal of trust at the highest level. Davids weaponized his pastoral title, preaching prosperity while quietly stealing the futures of his congregants. The court found that he specifically targeted vulnerable individuals, using the pulpit and prayer meetings to build credibility and lure people into what he portrayed as a God-sanctioned opportunity. Let that sink in: a religious leader turning the very institution of faith into a weapon of manipulation. According to the NPA's R329, the accused deliberately misrepresented the nature of the investment to the public. There was no sustainable business model. Instead, the funds were recycled to maintain the illusion of profitability. That illusion wasn't cheap to maintain. Davids lived large. Court testimony revealed how he splurged investor funds on luxury vehicles, overseas holidays, and expensive property. His Instagram-worthy lifestyle was funded not by business acumen, but by the shattered dreams of pensioners and ordinary South Africans trying to escape poverty. The Asset Forfeiture Unit has since moved in, seizing several of his assets, with more to come pending final forfeiture proceedings. But the damage has already been done, both financially and emotionally. What makes this case so significant is the number of victims and the duration of the fraud. Operating for over 6 years, this Ponzi scheme ensnared more than 2,000 people. Some victims invested their entire pensions. Others borrowed money from friends and family, all believing they were sowing into a brighter future. And now, many are left with nothing. This case echoes similar scams that have devastated communities worldwide, from Bernie Madoff in the United States to local investment club disasters here at home. The difference? Few scams are run under the cloak of the church. The court was scathing in its judgment, noting the psychological damage done by someone in a position of moral authority. The judge explicitly condemned the abuse of pastoral influence, saying Davids exploited his influence in the church community to gain credibility and access to vulnerable individuals. The sentencing phase is expected to begin in July. Legal experts say the pair could face lengthy prison terms, especially given the scale of the fraud and the number of lives affected. But many victims say no amount of jail time can undo the emotional trauma they've experienced. For some, this wasn't just about money. It was about trust in their pastor, their community, and their future. And that's where we need to pause and reflect as a country. South Africa has seen far too many scams that exploit the hopes and dreams of the poor and working class. Whether it's dodgy funeral schemes, illegal stock votes, or bogus forex trading companies, the common thread is the promise of quick wealth in a context where economic desperation is widespread. Combine that with someone wearing the cloth of religion, and you have a recipe for disaster. The public is being urged to remain vigilant. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. No legitimate investment can guarantee fixed monthly returns of 8% without risk. And no ethical leader, religious or otherwise, should ever pressure followers into financial commitments with vague promises and emotional manipulation. If we're going to prevent more tragedies like this, we need better financial education, stricter regulation of religiously affiliated entities, and swift prosecution of those who prey on the vulnerable. Authorities are now combing through Platinum Forex's records to identify any additional hidden assets and trace how deep the fraud went. Some analysts suspect there may be other players who have yet to be charged. There are also growing calls for tighter oversight of investment platforms, particularly those promoted through churches and informal community networks. As the story unfolds, we will continue to follow developments closely. The sentencing in July will be a moment of reckoning, not only for Colin Davids and Derek Bredekamp, but also for the broader question of how financial predators use trust, faith, and community as tools of manipulation. This story is not just about a Ponzi scheme, it's about how easily good people can be misled when desperate for economic relief. It's about the systems that fail to protect them, and the people who use power, even spiritual power, to do harm. That's all for today's episode. If this story made you think, or if you've had your own experience with a financial scam or religious exploitation, we want to hear from you in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more in-depth political and social commentary, and share this with friends and family so we can build a more informed and vigilant community. Until then, stay safe, stay alert, and stay empowered. See you next time.